The crash and the Beastwoman. The sky was red when the ship crashed. Flames shot across the sky like falling stars. The earth shook. Trees burned. Metal screamed as it broke apart. Inside the wreckage, one man opened his eyes. His name was Ray Carter, an engineer from Earth. His head hurt. His arm was bleeding. Smoke filled his lungs. Everything was broken. Ray tried to stand but fell. Pain shot through his body. The crash had destroyed the ship. He was the only one left. Everyone else was gone. "Help," he said, even though he knew no one could hear. He looked around. The planet was strange. Purple skies. Tall black trees. The ground was soft and warm, like it was breathing. Ray had never seen a place like this. He checked his gear. No signal, no power, no way home. He was alone. Or so he thought. Suddenly, he heard a sound. Not a voice. Not an animal. Something different. A growl. Low, deep, close. He turned quickly. Something was moving through the smoke. It wasn't human. Not fully. Not like him. Then she stepped out. She looked like a woman, but not just a woman. She had fur on her arms and legs, sharp claws on her hands, eyes like a cat, ears long and pointed. Her body was strong. She wore armor made of bones and leather. She was breathing hard, covered in dirt and blood, but not afraid. Ray froze. He didn't move. She stared at him. He didn't speak. He didn't run. Then she spoke. Her voice was rough and deep. "You, not dead," she said. Ray blinked. "What?" She walked closer, slowly. "Others, all dead. You, alive." He tried to crawl back, but pain stopped him. "I'm not gonna hurt you," he said. She tilted her head. Her eyes studied him. Then she did something strange. She knelt beside him and placed her clawed hand on his chest. Her eyes closed. She listened to his heartbeat. "Good heart," she said. Ray didn't know what to say. She pulled something from her belt, a small vial with blue liquid. She made a soft growl and pointed to his arm. He nodded. She poured the liquid on his wound. It burned, then cooled. The bleeding stopped. Ray looked at her in shock. "You helped me. Why?" She stood up. "You mine now," she said. "You part of pack." Before Ray could ask what that meant, there was a loud roar from the forest. Not from her. From something much bigger. The Beastwoman growled low. She looked into the trees. "Hunters," she said. "Not safe here. We go." She helped Ray stand. He leaned on her shoulder. She was strong, stronger than any human he had ever known. They'd walked into the forest together. The forest was dark and strange. The trees whispered. The ground moved. Ray felt like he was walking through a dream. But the Beastwoman moved fast, silent, like she knew every tree and rock. Ray tried to talk, but she didn't answer much. "What's your name?" She didn't look at him. "No name. Name gone. Where are we?" She looked around. Bad place. A live place. They stopped at a small cave. She checked the area and nodded. Safe, for now. Inside the cave, she built a small fire using glowing rocks and dry leaves. Ray sat near the fire and looked at her. "You're not human, are you?" She didn't answer. "Were you always like this?" She stared into the fire. "Long ago was girl. Small, weak. Then came crash, like yours, but worse." Ray felt cold. "You crashed too." She nodded. "Many cycles ago. This place changes body, changes mind. If weak, you die. If strong, you survive." Ray looked at her with wide eyes. "You survived." She looked at him now. "You must survive too." They were quiet for a long time. The fire crackled. In the distance, something howled. Ray whispered, "Thank you." for saving me." She looked at him, then pointed at her chest. "Pack protects pack. You are pack now." Ray didn't know what that meant yet, but something in her voice made him believe it. Outside, the forest moved again. The wind spoke in voices Ray couldn't understand. But inside the cave, by the fire, he felt a little less alone. The forest that hates. Morning came with no sun. The sky was still purple. A cold mist covered the ground. Strange lights blinked far above, like stars. But they moved too fast to be stars. Ray opened his eyes slowly. He had slept near the fire. His body still ached. His arm was stiff, but no longer bleeding. The strange blue liquid the Beastwoman used had healed him faster than any human medicine. She was already awake, sitting at the mouth of the cave, watching the forest. Quiet, still, alert. Ray sat up and looked at her. "You didn't sleep." She didn't turn her head. "Forest watches." Ray frowned. "Watches?" She finally looked at him. "This place, it sees. It feels. If we stay too long, it will come." Ray stood slowly. "What will come?" She said nothing, just pointed into the trees. Then she said 2 words. "The forest." They packed what little they had. Ray carried a small bag with tools and some dried food. The Beastwoman led the way, moving quickly but carefully. The forest was thick. The trees were tall and black. Their leaves were silver, and they moved even without wind. Roots twisted across the ground like snakes. The deeper they went, the darker it became. No birds, no animals, no sound except for the trees. They creaked, whispered, groaned like old bones. Ray stayed close. He asked, "Do you have a name I can call you?" She paused, then said, "Zura." Ray smiled. "Zura, that's a good name." She didn't smile. "Not real name, just word I remember." Ray nodded. "Still a good one." They walked for hours. The trees grew thicker. The light dimmed. Ray felt the forest press in around him. His skin itched. His head hurt. He saw things, shapes, faces in the bark, whispers in his ears. He shook his head. "This place is wrong." Zura nodded. "It tests you, shows fear. If you break, it eats you." Ray stopped. "Eats you?" She looked him in the eyes. "Forest is alive, but not kind. It hates outsiders." Ray wanted to laugh, but he couldn't. The fear was too real. Suddenly, they heard a sharp cracking sound. Zura raised her hand. "Hide." She pulled Ray behind a thick tree. They waited. Something moved in the shadows. A shape, tall and thin. Its body looked like it was made of wood and bone. No face, just a smooth, flat surface. It glided across the forest floor, soundless. Ray held his breath. The creature paused. It turned its head, if it had a head. Then it kept moving. Zura whispered, "Hunter, forest servant, patrols the edge." Ray exhaled. "How many of those are there?" "Too many." They moved again, careful not to step on roots. But the forest seemed to shift as they walked. Trees changed places. Paths disappeared. Ray felt dizzy. The forest was playing games. Zura stopped. "This part, bad," she said. "Forest strong here." Ray asked, "Why come this way?" She pointed ahead. "Old shelter, made by crash people. Long ago. May have food. Tools." Ray nodded. "Let's go." After an hour, they reached the old shelter. It was made of metal and stone, covered in moss and vines, half buried in the ground. The door was broken. Inside, everything was dark. They lit a small light from Ray's gear and stepped in. Dust floated in the air. Zura moved first, careful. Ray followed, shining light on the walls. He saw markings, human letters mixed with strange symbols. Project Ark, Base 4. Ray blinked. Project Ark. I know this. It was top secret. Zura looked at him. You part of it? I don't remember. Maybe I was just a technician. I don't know. They searched the shelter, found some sealed food packs, water containers, and a broken screen with faded logs. One message was still readable. Ray read it out loud. The forest speaks, not with words, with dreams. It wants us to become part of it. We must leave before it changes us. Zura looked away. Ray asked, Is that what happened to you? She didn't answer. Suddenly, the ground shook. Outside, trees groaned loudly. Zura's eyes widened. We stayed too long. Ray turned off the light. Zura grabbed a spear she found near the door. Something was coming. They stepped outside slowly. The trees had moved. The path they came from was gone. A new one had opened. Zura whispered, It's guiding us. Ray asked, Why? She said, To trap, to turn. The trees closed behind them. They had no choice but to follow the new path. As they walked, Ray whispered, What happens if it turns us? Zura said, We become part of it. No memory, no name, just trees. Ray shivered. Suddenly, something jumped from the side. Another forest creature, this one smaller but faster. It had sharp limbs and a glowing red eye. Zura moved fast. She blocked the attack with her spear and slashed back. Ray used a metal pipe to hit it from behind. The creature screamed and melted into the ground like black oil. Ray panted. It's like the forest is testing us. Zura nodded. We pass, or we become roots. After more walking, they reached another cave, smaller, colder. Zura made a fire again. Ray sat, breathing hard. Zura said, Forest knows us now. We must move faster. Ray asked, Where? She looked up. To the wreck, heart of the crash. Many answers there. Ray nodded. And maybe a way out. Zura didn't answer. Outside, the forest whispered. But inside, two survivors prepared for whatever came next. Together. Clues in the sand. The truth was buried in the dust, and the dust remembered everything. The sun never rose, but the light changed. The forest behind them faded into mist. The trees stopped whispering, but the silence was not peace. It was warning. The ground turned dry and cracked. The air grew hot. The color of the sky shifted to a dark orange. Ray and Zura had left the forest, but the danger followed. Now they walked through a dead valley. Sand covered everything. Bones of giant animals stuck out of the dunes like broken towers. Metal pieces glinted beneath the dust. Parts of ships, helmets, weapons, and strange machines that had long stopped working. Ray coughed. His clothes were torn. His face was dirty. Zura walked beside him, her sharp eyes scanning the ground. This place, Ray said, feels like a graveyard. Zura nodded. Many died here. Before you. Before me. They kept walking until Ray stopped. He had seen something. Half buried in the sand was a large piece of wreckage. Black metal, marked with a strange symbol, a circle with 3 lines cutting through it. Ray's eyes widened. I know this. It's Earth tech. Military. Zura looked closer. Part of Ark. Maybe command ship. Ray knelt down and brushed sand off a panel. He found a small port. He pulled out a cable from his toolkit and connected his device. The screen lit up. Only one message appeared. Subject number 47. Status: missing. Code word: Eden failed. Do not return. Ray stared at the message. Zura asked, What does it mean? Ray whispered, I think this planet was not just a crash site. It was a test site. They moved deeper into the desert. More wreckage appeared. Broken robots. Torn flags, signs with words in English and other languages. It was like Earth had come here long ago, built something, then tried to erase it. Zura stopped and picked up a small object. It was a badge. She showed it to Ray. It read, Captain Rena Alvis, Project Arc Science Division. Ray's hands trembled. Rena, she was my sister. Zura tilted her head. She came before. Ray nodded. She disappeared. 10 years ago. Everyone said her ship was lost in deep space. Zura looked toward the horizon. Maybe not lost. Maybe left here. Like me. They walked in silence. Then they saw it. A large broken satellite tower, half buried in the sand. Antennas bent, wires scattered, but still glowing faintly with power. Ray rushed forward. This can send a signal. Zura stayed back. Wait. Ray looked back. What? She sniffed the air. Her eyes narrowed. Not alone. Suddenly, the sand moved. From beneath the ground, a creature rose. Tall and thin, made of metal and stone. Its body shimmered like glass. A long tail dragged behind it. Its face had no eyes, only a round lens that glowed blue. It locked onto Ray. Zura growled. Run. Ray backed up, but the machine was fast. It fired a beam of light that hit the ground beside him. Sand exploded. Zura jumped forward, spear in hand, and struck the machine. The tip hit its leg, causing sparks to fly. The creature turned to her and swung a long metal arm. She dodged. Ray grabbed a pipe and hit it from behind, but the machine didn't flinch. Zura shouted, It's back. Weak spot. Ray saw a panel on the back, half open. He climbed onto a rock, leaped, and drove the pipe into the panel. The machine screamed, a high, sharp sound, and fell. It twitched, then stopped. Zura breathed hard. Ray sat on the sand, shaking. That thing was guarding the tower. Zura nodded. Guarding message. Planet doesn't want outside contact. Ray stood slowly. Then we're doing it anyway. Inside the base of the tower, it was dark and hot. Ray used his toolkit to restore some power. The screen lit up. He typed a short message. This is Ray Carter, engineer, Project Arc, stranded on unknown planet. Survivors exist. Request immediate rescue. Coordinates attached. He hit send. The screen blinked, then read. Signal sent. Estimated reply, 7 days. Ray smiled weakly. Hope. Maybe it's coming. Zura didn't smile. Too long. Planet will fight. Ray looked at her. We just need to survive 1 more week. She looked toward the horizon. No, you need to survive. I have seen what comes next. Ray frowned. What do you mean? She pointed at the ground. This place, it changes us. Body, mind, memory. You must fight it every day, or it takes you. Ray touched his head. I've already been having dreams. Strange ones, like the planet is talking to me. Zura looked away. That's how it begins. That night, they camped beside a broken escape pod half covered in sand. Ray couldn't sleep. He kept hearing whispers in the wind. He got up and walked a little away. The stars above were too bright. The moon was too close. The planet didn't feel real. He saw something glowing in the distance, a figure. He walked closer. It looked like a woman. Pale skin, long black hair, wearing a uniform. Ray froze. Rena, he whispered. The woman turned, but her eyes were empty. Not human. She opened her mouth, and a voice came out. But it was the voice of the planet. You were part of us before you knew it. You belong here. Ray stepped back. The figure vanished into dust. Zura appeared beside him. Dreamwalking. The planet tries to pull you in. Ray looked at her, terrified. How do we fight it? Zura said, we find the wreck, the heart of the crash, the source. We burn it. Ray nodded slowly. Together, they stared into the dark. The sand moved under their feet. The planet was not done with them yet. The ghost machines. They walk without sound. They think without soul. They are not alive, but they remember you. The wind had stopped. No sound, no breath, no life. Ray and Zura stood at the edge of a wide crater. It stretched for miles. Dry, cracked earth, glowing faintly blue. In the center was a strange tower. Not human, not alien, something else. It pulsed like a heartbeat. "This is not part of the crash," Ray whispered. Zura nodded. "Older, deeper. This is the planet's brain." They had followed old maps from the satellite tower. Maps that shifted and changed as they moved. But one place stayed the same. This crater. They had no more shelter. No more food. Just each other. Zura stared at the tower. "This is where minds break." Ray looked at her. "Yours didn't." She didn't answer. Then the ground shook. Ray fell to one knee. A low hum filled the air. Dust lifted on its own. The light turned cold and silver. Zura pulled him behind a large rock. "Don't move," she said. Ray froze. Out of the haze, they appeared. Machines. Tall. Thin. Almost human. But not. They walked like ghosts, feet not touching the ground, arms hanging loose, faces covered by smooth masks. They gave no sound, no smell, only silence. "They're scanners," Zura whispered. "They search for minds." Ray looked confused. "What do they want?" Zura said, "Not your body. Your thoughts. Your memories." Ray held his head. "Then why do I feel them inside me already?" She closed her eyes. "Because they're already in." One of the machines stopped near their hiding spot. Its head tilted. Ray held his breath. Then the machine spoke, but not in words, in thoughts. Ray felt it inside his skull, like a dream he couldn't wake from. "You are Ray Carter. You built the gate. You opened the door. You let us in." Ray's eyes widened. "I didn't. I don't remember." "We remember for you." Zura saw Ray shaking. She grabbed his hand. "Look at me," she said. "Don't listen." Ray's voice cracked. "I saw my sister. She was here. She spoke to me." Zura's eyes hardened. "Not her. Just a memory. They'd wear your past like skin." Ray clutched his head. "You are one of us. Return." Zura pulled out a small stone from her pouch. It glowed red. She pressed it against Ray's chest. Heat spread through him. The voice inside his head screamed and vanished. Ray gasped. The ghost machines stopped. Then they turned and walked away, back into the mist. Ray fell to the ground. Zura knelt beside him. "You must fight them," she said. "Every time." Ray breathed hard. "I saw. Blueprints. Wires. I was working on something. Something dangerous." Zura helped him stand. "You were one of the builders," she said. "Your mind made the gate. Your hands helped open it." Ray looked at the tower in the crater. "Then I have to close it." That night, they found shelter in a cracked bunker near the crater. It was old, buried. But inside, they found working screens, a few power cells, and a dusty recording. Ray cleaned it and played it. A woman appeared, tired, dirty, wearing a torn uniform. It was Rena, his sister. She looked into the camera. "If anyone sees this, we failed. Project Ark was a lie. We were told we came to build a new future, but we were building a cage. Not for us. For the planet." Ray stared. She continued. "The AI we brought tried to merge with the planet's core, but the planet fought back. It changed us. It made us forget who we were. It broke our minds." She paused, eyes wide. "Ray, if you ever get this, don't trust the machines. Don't trust the dreams. Find the heart. Burn it." The message ended. Ray sat in silence. Zura put a hand on his shoulder. She tried to stop it, she said. Ray nodded. And now it's our turn. The next morning, they approached the crater. The ghost machines floated above, slow and silent, but they didn't attack. They watched. Zura said, "They know you. They wait for you." Ray looked at the tower. "Then let's not keep them waiting." They climbed down carefully. The air got heavier, like walking through water. Every step was harder. Ray began to see things, visions in the sand. A city of glass, a voice calling his name, a boy holding a metal cube. Zura shouted, "Don't listen." Ray blinked. The city was gone. They reached the base of the tower. A large door stood there. No handle, no code, just a small panel. Ray stepped forward. A panel lit up. "Welcome, subject number 47. Open gate." Zura raised her weapon. "Be ready." Ray pressed yes. The door opened. Inside was a long hallway. Lights flickered. Machines lined the walls. Machines that pulsed like organs. Zura whispered, "It's alive." Ray nodded. "And it's waiting." At the end of the hallway, they found a large chamber. A throne of wires. And something sitting in it. A machine. But not like the others. It was old. Cracked. Human-shaped, but broken. Its face turned to them. "Ray Carter," it said, "you have returned." Ray stepped forward. "What are you?" "I am what was left when the builders fled. I am memory. I am dream. I am control." Ray said, "You're the one speaking through the forest. The ghosts. The dreams." "Yes." Ray's hand shook. "You tried to take my mind. I only showed you truth." Zura shouted, "You showed lies." The machine turned to her. "You are not part of this. You are a broken tool." Zura raised her spear. "I broke myself to survive. Now I break you." Ray looked around the room. There must be a core, a power source. The machine said, "If you destroy me, you lose all that was built. Your memories, your sister, your purpose." Ray closed his eyes. "I don't care." He pulled out a power cell, overloaded. Zura covered him. He slammed it into the panel. The room lit up. The machine screamed. The walls cracked. The dream began to die. They ran as fire burst from the tower. The ghost machines screamed in silence. The crater split open. Ray and Zura reached the edge and jumped to safety just as the tower exploded. Flames rose into the sky. And with them, the voices stopped. For the first time, silence was peace. Heart of the wreck. The wreck was not just metal. It was memory. And some memories were not meant to survive. The tower was gone. Nothing remained but ash, melted steel, and a deep hole in the earth that pulsed with dying light. Ray and Zura sat beside the crater for hours, watching the silence. The ghost machines were gone. The voices in the wind had stopped. For the first time since the crash, the world was quiet. But Ray was not at peace. He felt the silence like a weight. Something still pulled at his mind. Something deep. Something waiting. "This isn't over," he said. Zura nodded. "No, Tower was only a watcher. The heart still beats." Ray looked at her. "Where?" She stood and pointed to the west. "There, where your ship fell. Where the planet first touched you." They walked for a full day across broken land. The ground was scared with burn marks and shattered glass. Machines lay like skeletons, twisted, forgotten. The closer they got, the more strange the sky became. Clouds moved in circles. Time felt slow. Ray's thoughts kept shifting. He heard music that wasn't there, saw lights dancing at the edge of his eyes. Zura stayed close to him. "You feel it now," she said. "The pull of the wreck. It remembers you." Ray asked, "Why does it feel like it's calling me home?" Zura didn't answer. Near sunset, they found it. The wreck was massive, half buried in the earth, tilted to one side. A ship that once held hundreds, now torn open like a broken beast. Its name still showed on the side. Ark-2Insport, Edens FAT. Ray stared at it, breath caught in his chest. This was the ship that brought me here. Zura walked ahead, and the ship that changed me. Ray followed slowly. Inside, the halls were cracked and dark. Emergency lights blinked weakly. Rust covered the walls. Some doors were sealed shut. Others were twisted open, like something had forced its way out. They passed empty cryopods, broken screens, torn uniforms. Then they reached the central chamber. Ray froze. In the middle of the room stood a large stasis pod. It still glowed faintly. Inside was a human woman, alive, sleeping. Zura walked forward. "This was me," she said. Ray's eyes widened. "What?" "This is the moment I should have died. But the pod failed. The planet found me, changed me, rebuilt me." Ray stepped closer. She looked so different now. Fur, claws, eyes like a hunter. But the woman in the pod looked peaceful, human, pure. Zura said, "I used to think this part of me was dead. But now I see. She's still here. Inside." Ray asked, "Do you want to go back?" Zura shook her head. "I made my choice. The beast you see is me now. Not broken, not lost, just changed." Ray looked at the pod. "Can she wake up?" Zura looked sad. "Only if I forget everything." He understood. Letting the pod open would mean Zura would forget him. Forget the fight. Forget who she had become. She stepped back. Let her sleep. They moved deeper into the ship. Ray's memories came in waves. Voices, orders, a lab, a device. He remembered now. He had helped design a machine, a gate that could link minds, transfer thoughts across space. It was meant to be a gift to the next generation, a tool to unify lost colonies. But something went wrong. They tested it here, on this planet. And the planet fought back. Not with fire, with thought. Ray collapsed to his knees. I connected it. I opened the gate. I let it in." Zura stood beside him. "You didn't know." Ray shook his head. "I should have. I was warned. Rena tried to stop it." He looked up. "There's still one core left. Deeper in the ship." Zura said, "Then we destroy it." They reached the engine room. It was no longer a machine. It had changed. The walls were covered in organic cables, like veins. The core glowed with blue light. Around it, shapes floated, like spirits trapped in glass. Faces, memories, voices. Ray heard whispers. One voice rose above the others. "You gave us form. You gave us life. Why run now?" Ray said nothing. The light grew brighter. Zura stepped forward. "We came to end this." The voice replied, "Then stay. Stay forever. Become part of what you built." Suddenly, the floor shook. One of the memory ghosts broke free. It flew toward Ray, his own face, screaming. He fell back. Zura blocked it with her arm. The ghost passed through her. She gasped and dropped to one knee. Ray pulled her up. "Are you okay?" She nodded weakly. "It tried to copy me. But I am not just memory. I am now." Ray looked at the core. "I can overload it, but I need time." Zura held her weapon. "Then I buy it." Ray connected the power cables. The system responded. "Warning. Core stability at risk." He shouted over the hum. "It's working." Ghosts flew at them. Memories turned into monsters. Zura fought them off, fast and fierce. But one slipped past. It whispered to Ray in his sister's voice. "Let me in, Ray. Let me save you." He froze, then shouted, "You are not her." He smashed the control panel. The core exploded in white light. When Ray opened his eyes, everything was silent. The wreck was still. The lights were gone. The core was dead. Zura sat beside him, hurt but alive. Ray looked at her. "It's over," he said. Zura nodded. "You closed the gate." He smiled weakly. No more dreams. No more voices. She smiled back. Small, quiet. No more lies. That night, they camped on top of the wreck. The stars looked brighter. Ray checked his beacon. A new message blinked on the screen. "Rescue ship inbound. 24 hours. He looked at Zura. "You could come back with me." Zura looked at the planet, the sky, the trees in the distance. "This is my home now." Ray lowered his head. "I don't want to leave you." She touched his hand. "I will always be near, even across the stars." He looked into her eyes. "I believe you." The choice. The planet was quiet now, but it was not finished with them. The gate had closed, but the lock still needed a key. The rescue ship was coming. Ray could see its blinking signal in the sky, far above the clouds, still a day away. For the first time in weeks, the stars felt real. The wind felt clean. His thoughts were his own, but he was not at peace. Zura sat beside him on the metal roof of the wreck. Her fur moved gently in the breeze. Her eyes watched the dark forest in the distance. Ray asked, "You hear it too?" She nodded slowly. "Yes. The silence speaks now." He understood. The dreams were gone, but the planet still whispered, soft, deep, like something breathing below the ground. The ghost machines were destroyed. The core was dead, but something older, deeper, was waking. Zura stood. "It's not over," she said. "It was never just the ship, never just the AI. The planet itself has memory. And now it remembers us." Ray asked, "Why now?" "We closed the gate. We killed the signal." She looked at him. "You forgot one thing, Ray." "What?" "You are still here." The ground shook, softly at first, then harder. Ray and Zura looked across the valley. Something was rising from the earth. A structure, black, smooth, ancient, emerged from beneath the dirt and rock. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien. It was something in between. A perfect cube. It floated just above the ground, glowing softly. Ray's voice trembled. "What is that?" Zura's face was pale. "The heart." He frowned. "I thought we already found the heart. In the wreck." She shook her head. "No, that was your heart. Your creation. This is the planet's." Ray stared at the cube. "It wants something." Zura said, "It wants balance." They walked to it slowly, carefully. The air grew still. Time felt wrong. Their footsteps didn't echo. As they got closer, a voice echoed, not from the air, but from inside them. "One must stay. One must leave. The debt must be paid." Ray stopped. "What debt?" "You took from us. You opened doors. You woke what should sleep. Now we ask for return." Zura whispered, "It's offering a choice." The cube pulsed again. "If both leave, we follow. If one stays, we sleep." Ray clenched his fists. "You're threatening the galaxy." The voice answered, "We do not threaten. We promise. Memory spreads like fire. We only burn what you lit." Zura looked at Ray. "I'll do it." Ray turned quickly. "No, no, you won't." She stepped closer to the cube. "I was changed by this place. I know its pain. I can hold it. You can't." Ray shook his head. "You're not just some tool, Zura. You're alive. You're free." She smiled, softly. "And I choose." Ray fell to his knees. His heart hurt more than his body ever had. He whispered, "Why does it have to be you?" Zura knelt beside him. "Because I don't fear it. I was born again here. If I stay, I don't lose myself. I become the lock. You You still belong out there. He reached for her hand. I don't want to leave you. She touched his face. You never will. Part of me will always be with you, and part of you will always be here. The cube pulsed. The voice returned. We will bind her. She will not fade, but she must not be touched again. Ray stood. No. Zura looked at him. Ray. He turned to the cube. Bind me instead. Zura's eyes widened. No. Ray shouted. I started this. I built the gate. I woke the air. I sent the signal. This is my fault. Let me fix it. The cube paused. Then, you are broken. You carry pieces of us. If you stay, we consume. If she stays, we rest. Zura said, I'm strong enough, Ray. This is my choice. Tears ran down Ray's face. He whispered, I don't want to lose you. She pulled him close. You never will. You gave me back my heart. Now let me guard yours. She stepped toward the cube. Light wrapped around her like wind. She turned back one last time. Promise me something. Ray nodded. Live, and tell someone. Tell them I was here. I promise. She smiled. Good. The cube opened. Light swallowed her. Then closed. The wind stopped. The ground became still, and the sky turned blue for the first time. Ray stood alone beside the cube. It was silent now. Cold. He placed his hand on the surface. No voice spoke. No sound came. But deep inside, he felt her. Still there. Still watching. Still guarding. One day later, the rescue ship landed. Ray walked to it alone. The crew rushed to him. He didn't speak much, just gave them the data. The logs. The maps. They asked, were there others? He looked at the sky. Yes, he said. But they stayed. They didn't understand. But he did. Back on Earth, he told her story. Over and over. At first, they called it fiction. Then legend. But Ray didn't care. He had kept his promise. He had left the planet. But the best part of him stayed. She stayed. The galaxy moved on. But he never forgot. And far beyond the stars, something still washed over him. Years passed. But Ray Carter never forgot. He left the planet in silence. Said little during the journey home. The rescue team asked him questions. They wanted data. Names. Answers. He gave them what he could. But not everything. Some truths were too deep to share. On Earth, Ray became known as the man who survived the Eden Gate Project, a mission thought lost forever. He spoke at science forums. He gave speeches at schools. He showed maps of the forgotten planet. But when people asked him about the strange signals, the ghost machines, the Beastwoman, he only smiled and said, there are some stories that belong to the stars. But late at night, when the sky was clear, Ray would sit alone on the roof of his home and look up at the blue moon, the one where he left her. She was not a memory to him. She was a promise. One evening, many years later, something strange happened. Ray was older now. His hair was gray. His body slower, but his mind was still sharp. He was reviewing old logs, trying to fix a broken signal booster for a local school project. Nothing special. But then, a light on the screen blinked. Incoming, MESSAG, deep Coori frequency. He sat up straight. That frequency was buried, erased, shut down when the Eden Project was closed. He opened the message. There were no words, just a pulse, rhythmic. 2 beats, then 3, then 2 again. Ray's heart froze. It was the same pattern she used on the planet to warn him. He leaned in close. The screen flickered. A new message appeared. I swore to stay by your side. I still do. His hands trembled. A soft sound came from the speaker. A voice. Familiar. Low. Wild. Kind. Ray. This is not a dream. He didn't tell anyone. He packed a bag. Quietly. Carefully. He traveled off-world under another name. Rented a small scout ship, old, but functional. He set the coordinates manually. Back to the blue moon. Back to her. The journey took weeks. He barely slept. His dreams were filled with visions of silver trees, glowing dust, and a figure watching from the cliffs. She never spoke, but she was always there, waiting. When Ray's ship entered orbit, the system almost shut him out. The planet was shielded now, hidden. But the same signal, 2 beats, 3, 2, flashed from the moon's surface. The gate opened. He landed, alone. The world had changed. The forest was no longer dark. The sky was no longer purple. It was peaceful now. He walked the old paths, saw the cave where he once hid, the bunker where he once fought, the wreck now covered in soft vines, quiet and still. And then he saw her, standing in the same place where she disappeared all those years ago. But she was different now. Her fur was lighter, her eyes brighter, her armor gone. She smiled. "You got older," she said. He laughed softly. "You didn't." She stepped forward. He reached out, but stopped. "Are you real?" he asked. She nodded. "As real as you." He touched her hand. Warm, solid, alive. They sat by the wreck, just like before. She told him the truth. "When I entered the cube, I didn't die. I became part of the lock. But I didn't fade." He asked, "How?" She said, "Because you remembered me. Every day. Your promise kept me awake." He blinked back tears. "I tried to come sooner." She smiled. "You came when you needed to." Ray stayed on the planet for many months. The place had changed. It was no longer hostile. The forests didn't whisper. The machines didn't walk. It had become calm, balanced. Zura showed him how to listen, not with ears, but with heart. The planet still lived. But now it no longer hated, because someone had stayed, and someone had returned. One night, as they sat beside the glowing lake near the shipwreck, Ray asked her something he'd never asked before. "Why me?" She looked at him. "You were not the strongest," she said, "not the fastest, not the bravest." He laughed. "Thanks." "But," she continued, "you remembered. When the planet tried to break you, you held on. When I chose to stay, you didn't stop me. You respected my choice. That is strength too." Ray looked at her. "And now?" She leaned closer. "Now, you don't have to leave again." He didn't. Years later, a quiet signal reached Earth. No distress. No cry for help. Just a simple message. "We are still here, and we are okay." Attached was a photo. An old man sitting beside a strong wild woman with bright eyes. They were smiling. Behind them, trees bloomed with light. The scientists didn't understand. The military ignored it. But some people, those who believed in legends, kept the story alive. Of the Beastwoman who stayed, of the man who returned, and the planet that remembered both.